All right. Well, today's the day we test the theory if I can get out my driveway. And by out my driveway, I just mean out my yard. So the left side looks all muddy. I'm gonna go up the right side of that hill and hope for the best. Hope for the best, because the driveway is not complete at all. It's gonna be a couple days, and like I thought I was going to be really sore this morning, I'm just like exhausted sore. So not the best day probably to do a clean out, but we're working on a schedule here. My yard over here, dunzo. So we're not going up this way. Well, can't get up that hill. Walking up to the Jeep now. I just couldn't gain enough momentum to get up this hill. As you guys see, spinning tires, tearing up the yard. Kind of hard to do a house clean out in a Jeep, but today we'll see how it works. Alright, so plan of attack for right now is probably just try and get more stuff out. Like I've always said, this stuff is staying. Try to beat the heat. I didn't bring my Sawzall because, well, my van's having fan things. You got a couple more trips going downstairs. I've taken down two really beautiful East Lake pieces. I think this goes to, at least I think it's East Lake furniture. Has that Lake Victorian look to it. Lake Victorian, man, just picture it right now. Victorian era, by the lake, weekend home. What a time to be alive. No technology in the world. I did not bring the Sawzall. I should have cut that up, but man, walk this piece down. We're getting pretty close to being done up here. Yeah, getting pretty close. All right, I jumped up on this. I don't know, desk or whatever. Yanking all this stuff out. Where's the shekels of gold? People like to joke on the channel about how I don't clean out my van from time to time. This is literally Tony's van. The only thing we put in today was this and that. Everything else in here has been in here for I don't know how long, but I know people like to joke when I have like 2 or 3 boxes. I'm like, oh, I gotta throw this on top of this. I gotta throw it on top of that. And people are like, oh, you're gonna break this. This is how Tony drives around. I'm pretty sure it's probably not great for gas mileage either. Pile's growing. How often do you see a current stretcher? Not too often. Now, I'm not really too familiar with current stretchers, but I'd assume it's when you wash your curtain rather than having it shrink. You just kind of stretch it out and just let it dry that way. That would be my guess, but I might be wrong. Alright, well, done at the house for today. It is so warm out. And it's muggy. I don't want it to rain, but it feels like it needs to rain. I came to lovely Ace Hardware because I have to go drop off some packages at the post office. Anyway, I wanted to see what this, they have it. It's like a paddle broom. I don't know, they might have a, we'll check it out in a bit. All right. So what I was getting at is, I think they have this thing called a paddle broom. I'm in the discounting section. Get suckered into looking at stuff which I don't need. My neighbor let me use it just to like experiment with it, because he has one. He has an Echo. I know Steel makes them for the stone there in my driveway, but I don't think I can validate buying one myself. I can't see it happening. But I wanted to see if they had them even in stock. When I mean validate buying it, it's because I don't think I would use it enough or I'd even really want to have it. This is ridiculous too. Thought maybe I'll use a pole saw for that one tree that fell down and knocked out a branch and just hanging there. And it's probably about 15 feet in the air. I think they do have it. Alright, so the trick here is, well, there's really no trick. You have to buy that. This whole thing, which is $360. They have one that's $400. But then there's different attachments, like you have this, you have that, different attachments you can put on it. So I think this is the power broom, or the paddle broom. See, it's got these paddles on it. It's good for using for stone, but does it have a price on it? It does. $355 just for the power sweep, just for this thing. I can't. So $350 plus $350 is $700 plus tax. You're looking at like $760. I don't think I can validate doing that for just stones in the driveway or stones in the yard. And then they have a brush. This is $300. It's got bristles. That's more for like hard top, I think. $760. But the thing is, like, and the reason why I say I can't see spending that kind of money is because that's $360. These attachments that come with it, I don't think I'd ever use. Well, it doesn't come with it. You can just add it on. I just don't see myself using an edger over there. Like, I don't have sidewalks. The weed whacker attachment, I have a weed whacker. So I'd literally just buy it for one thing. So you're pretty much just spending $700 for that to work. I don't think it's happening. I think I'll just go back to shoveling. Stone, a whole triaxle of stone is less money than that. And it's not like something that happens quite often, so I just don't think I'd ever do that. Ooh, didn't even think of that. It's probably not strong enough. Using a leaf blower to blow the stones back into the driveway. Huh. Oh yeah, remember when I found out? Here we go. Is that just, no, it's not it. This is it, but that's not really. I found an axe, a steel axe in the trash. I was like, you know what, that thing's probably really expensive. It's $115 here. Alright, enough lollygagging. I can't validate doing any of this. Go back to shoveling. Alright, I did some mowing. Now looking at this tree, look how beautiful walnut looks. A lot of people get walnut furniture, it looks awesome. Just the coloring on it. It's got a nice rich brown color with a little bit of the tan. But this isn't a walnut tree that fell, this is an ash tree. And everyone who knows anything about ash trees here in the northeast part of America knows they're all dying. So this kind of just died and finally fell over with the wind. But I think I'm going to work on it, try to clean it up a little bit. That might be the next step for today. The guy who's actually going to drop off stone called me. We talked a little bit. Didn't really come up with any answer to anything. And then he called me again 20 minutes later, which I thought would probably be the answer to things. And guess what? Didn't pick up because I was mowing grass. So called him back, no response. Gotta love it. Communication's key. But yeah, this tree is just gonzo. Now we're firing up the own chainsaw. I'll try to finish this thing up. Hopefully nothing pops out of here, but I don't think it will. So we'll give this a go and hopefully not lose any limbs, no pun intended. So I finished cutting it up. Everything's cut. Oh, did I not cut this one? I didn't cut that one. Jeez. This one looks like a beast. But you see all these holes in it? It seems like there's ants coming out. So when I ripped into one of them, I swear, 200, 300 ants just came running out. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll cut it today and then move it another day. Yeah, usually they come out of these holes. I don't know what kind of ants they are, but they're ants. Don't think they're fire ants, but they probably bite at some capacity. Everything's cut up. It ain't pretty, but it's drivable. Yeah, there's a lot going on here. Well, looks like that's about wrapping up here for today's episode. I've stopped by STOCKERTOWN Beverage, supporting local business. I think I actually have some advertisement from this place, some vintage advertisement. It's been a while, been open for quite some time. Treat my neighbors to some beverages after a long, hard day of work. And also asked them about flats, cardboard flats for the flea market. So I'm going to knock out two birds with one stone. I think it's the proper way that term goes. But it's been fun. Thanks for tagging along. Hopefully you guys enjoy this treasure hunt. Next time I should be able to get out with the van and we'll do another run to the dump. I know a lot of people commented about the landfill. They really wanted to see more of it. They wanted to see what was in the bin, and I thought it was really fun to go there. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully in a couple days I'll be back. And yeah, driveway's almost complete, and it's been fun doing some errands with you guys and girls. So from STOCKERTOWN, Pennsylvania, signing off here. Until next time, have a great day. Keep living a dream. Peace.